Forza Motorsport is a franchise that, in my opinion, has really gone downhill over the years. It could just be nostalgia swaying that opinion, but something about grinding Forza Motorsport 4 well into the early hours of the morning felt so satisfying. Since then, new titles in the series have failed to impress me, and nothing has really stuck out. In fact, for a while it seemed like the popularity of the Forza Horizon series might be completely consuming the franchise. However, the news of a brand new Forza Motorsport being released just about a year after Gran Turismo 7 sparked some interest in me. This game, supposedly built from the ground up, was exciting, and the prospect of reliving those late nights on Forza Motorsport 4 had me itching to get my hands on it. However, as the initial reviews started coming out, I got a little worried. Some people were paid to say good things about the game, and that's fine because I wish I got paid for that. But the rest of the reviews were pretty negative. Lots of different people from all corners of the sim racing community shared their thoughts on the new Forza Motorsport, and it was worrying to see how much backlash the game was getting. But I figured, hey, might as well spend $70 on it and see for myself, right? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so I can start monetizing my videos and make my $70 back. In this video, I'm going to give you my impressions of Forza Motorsport, and most importantly, if you should also spend your hard-earned cash on this game. Because we all know your $70 can be spent a lot of places, so this game better be worth it. Here's how this video is going to work. I'm essentially going to make a pros and cons list for you, going over my biggest positives and my biggest negatives so far. At the end of the video, I'm going to evaluate this list and give you a few different verdicts about this game. I know everyone wants to hear all the bad criticism, so let's start with the pros, and increase that average watch time. For starters, the car selection is fantastic, as it is in many of the Forza games, whether it be Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon. The car selection menu has a vast array of brands, and plenty of options for whatever category of racing you love the most. Additionally, it even has options for categories of cars that you just want to mess around with for a little while. The rent-a-car option is available for free play, and you can select any car in the game to try. This also includes Porsche, which is finally in the base game and doesn't require a DLC purchase, which is definitely a nice bonus. The selection of cars has always been a strong suit for the Forza franchise, and it gives the players access to a wide variety of cars and opens more avenues for experimentation into different kinds of racing, styles of driving, and learning the ins and outs of a certain car. This is definitely a huge benefit of owning a game like Forza Motorsport. Along with this, the game offers a very diverse list of tracks. They include the essentials like Spa, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring, and they also have fan favorites like Mugello, Le Mans, and Kyalami. On top of this, they also include oval tracks, such as the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tracks like Watkins Glen and Laguna Seca are also enjoyed by many, and these are great additions to the game. I know what you're thinking. This isn't that special. Every racing game has tracks like this. Yes, that's true. However, for the range of cars Forza offers, these tracks are very well selected to give the player a chance to experiment. For example, Assetto Corsa Competizione also includes tracks like Spa and Silverstone, but Forza includes oval racing and classics like Le Mans and Watkins Glen in the base game, which you have to pay for in other titles. The cosmetic customization in Forza is pretty good. With hundreds of paint options to choose from and lots of special colors, it's easy to design your car to fit your dream spec. The livery editor also has a host of real brand logos to choose from, so you can make your car look similar to a fully sponsored race car, or have some brand logos subtly throughout your livery. Along with this, the game gives you access to the most popular player-designed liveries, which often emulate famous liveries in real life. I've always liked the amount of visual customization that the Forza games have to offer. Although I've had limited experience in career mode, it seems to be a pretty extensive option for gameplay. Each section contains multiple categories of cars to race, and the classes of the cars slowly build to be faster and faster. The fastest sections feature cars like the Ford GT, Lexus LFA, Audi R8, and a host of other road cars from brands like Porsche and Mercedes. From the experience I've had so far, the career mode races are very interesting. The game allows you to do practice laps and edit your setup accordingly before getting into the race. Before the race, and this is interesting, you have the option to choose your grid position. The lower the position, the bigger the bonus for achieving a podium or a race win. I think this system is very interesting, as it adds another layer of difficulty to the race as opposed to just choosing an AI level. Although this is a pretty cool system, that's unfortunately the last of the pros. The rest of the game definitely needs some work. Let's get into some of the negatives. I'm going to start off with some of the most important negatives that need immediate fixing and slowly work my way down to less pressing items. Unfortunately, the driving mechanics in Forza are subpar at best. If you play on a controller, you don't have to worry too much about this, but for us wheel users, it's quite an issue. The game feels like it was made for a controller. Braking feels a little dull, and traction is a bit unrealistic, but my biggest issue with the driving mechanics is understeer. I mentioned it in my previous video, but every single car I've driven so far in this game is plagued by understeer. In order to get good rotation through a corner, you have to go much slower than what's realistic. and the front end still struggles to rotate properly. I understand if this is an issue with some cars, but it's every single car I've driven so far. This desperately needs to be fixed, otherwise wheel players will switch to another game if they haven't already. The second biggest issue is the AI. They're absolutely terrible. For starters, for some reason the scale is only 1 to 8. Why? This makes no sense. With such a limited ratio, it narrows down the capability for players. What if 6 is too slow and 7 is too fast? Where's the 6.5? Just make it a ratio of 100 like all other racing games. Secondly, the AI drivers themselves are horrendous. They're completely blind, turn into you, brake check you, slam into each other at every corner, and most importantly, it seems like they have zero track knowledge whatsoever. During my last video, I was going through a fast right-hander that's taken at full speed, and every single lap I found myself behind someone braking like 20 meters before the corner, and this was on the hardest AI difficulty as well. Did no one test this game? That's an issue that cannot exist in a racing game. It completely ruins the experience when you're pushing for a fast lap and all of a sudden someone brakes in front of you for a corner that's taken flat out. The AI need a major rework, and I really hope it comes soon. Another negative about Forza Motorsport is the setup and tuning menu options. The only way you have access to any type of performance customization, and even simply increasing your tire pressures, is if you purchase the car. This makes no sense to me. If I want to drive the BMW CSL, for example, I can only change things about the car if I purchase it by doing career mode races. Why? I understand major performance upgrades like drivetrain and engine swaps, but little tuning tweaks should absolutely be accessed by the player. Racing is all about having the maximum advantage you possibly can, and little changes in your car's tune or setup play a very important role in this. The fact that you have to purchase a car to even change your tire pressure is quite frustrating, and they should absolutely enable a tuning menu for free play. That way everyone can experiment with any car they like and customize it to fit their driving style. Some might say, why don't you just play the game and purchase a car so you can tune it? Yeah, I'm well aware of that option. However, the only problem with that argument is that you don't really earn that many credits for completing career mode races. Here's a completed race from a series in the career mode. Even after a first place finish on the hardest difficulty, I don't earn that many credits. Yes, I've played video games before, and yes, I understand that you have to earn the in-game currency in order to exchange it for something. I have no issue with that. The problem is that after saving hundreds of thousands of credits for a car, the upgrades take so long to complete, as you have to level up each individual car to unlock them. The reason this is an issue is because, again, it limits customization and experimentation for the player. This game is clearly trying to milk as much playtime as they possibly can from the player base, and to do that, they make upgrades insanely time-consuming, and no way to tune your car unless you grind races and pay for all of it. Earning credits from races is one thing, but the current inflation rates shouldn't be affecting a video game too. Wheel settings don't make too much sense in this game. After doing lap after lap and finally customizing my force feedback, track vibrations, on and off track effects, and dampers to be perfect, once I changed it to a different car, it's like all of that effort went out the window. For some reason, each car has a vastly different system when customizing your wheel settings. This is obviously very frustrating, as you never really know if the settings will be good or not. Generally, I've found a decent baseline that seems to work with most cars, but it takes a lot of time to do so. With other games, you do a few laps, turn some sliders up and down, and you're good to go for the rest of the time you own that game. With Forza, the customization never feels quite right, and it always feels like there's something a little bit off. Another issue I have is with the car selection in career mode. I know, I praised the career mode like 5 minutes ago, but the one thing that bothers me is the lack of actual race cars in the career mode. Every single category is road cars, and although the selection of road cars is great, there should at least be one full category of career mode races that focus on actual race cars, like the GT3 category, or LMP, or GTP, or GTX, or Proto H, or factory race cars, and so on. It's not like these cars aren't in the game, they just didn't include them in the career mode for some reason. I would definitely like to see this added sometime soon. Lastly, and this will probably be fixed, but the game is buggy. I've had difficulties with the game crashing, multi-class races not working properly, free play not working properly, the weather randomly switching after I set it to something else, and so on. I assume these issues will be fixed soon, but you never really know. So, here's the overall pros and cons list. Obviously there are more cons than pros, but it's also easier to look at a new game through a more critical lens. After taking these pros and cons into consideration, here's my official verdict, and it has a couple of factors. Factor 1 is that this game feels optimized for a controller, and a lot of the issues I mentioned with driving mechanics seem to go away when using a controller, not to mention the issues with wheel settings. Factor number 2 is that $70 is a lot for a game, and of course you can refund it if you need to, but it's still a lot of money to spend on pure entertainment, so it better be worth it. Overall, if you play on controller, go ahead and get Forza Motorsport. It's easy to pick up and you'll enjoy a lot of the pros I mentioned in this video. If you play on a wheel, there are some more things to consider. $70 is a bit steep for a game. If you use a racing wheel, it might be more worth your money to purchase something like Assetto Corsa or Assetto Corsa Competizione. Yes, the original Assetto Corsa is older, but for $40 you can get every added track and car ever released by DLC, and the actual quality of the driving mechanics and simulation is far superior. Assetto Corsa Competizione also offers a higher caliber of simulation, and it's a great choice for less money. Sure, these games offer less quantity in terms of car selection and customization, but they sure offer better quality. In closing, Forza Motorsport isn't a bad game by any means. Yes, it has its issues, as does any new game, and I'm sure they'll work on fixing some of them. If you're a more casual player looking for something simple and fun, Forza's right for you. On the other hand, if you're looking to purchase Forza Motorsport for a realistic, or at least well-polished driving experience, just get one of the Assetto Corsa games. Let me know your thoughts on the new Forza Motorsport. Leave a comment down below or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. And if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.